I'll fly, and I'll fly into the end of the sky. So I'll be
How do guys have a version of this My Little Midi Grimdark reading called Month of the Macabre, a Lyre's song, My Little Pony Grimdark reading part 2. It is 38 minutes and 29 seconds long. Well, we know that we got this flower, and my predictions in the previous episode that it's gonna play a role in some certain way, but I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't really know what's really gonna happen, because I remember when Sparrow was editing this story, he didn't give too much things away, did he? Well, did he? He didn't really give that much away. Well, let's find out in the next installment of the Lyre's song. In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's a Scribbler's intro. Okay, here we go. The Song of Pain and Fears. Okay.
Nothing but a pounding headache for Lyra, while Bonbon was able to shake off the effects of the aftermath easily. It wasn't her first aftermath of drinking just a little too much alcohol.
Yeah, a little bit too much alcohol.
Despite her head feeling like it was going to explode, Lyra hadn't regretted the events of the previous night, especially the end activities.
Yeah, not a bliss.
Sure,
sex.
After the final activity, she had slept like a newborn foal through the remainder of the night.
Oh, that must be cute, though.
Had kept her word and had tired her out. But that didn't mean she hadn't kept hers as well.
Oh, God, don't mind, stop it!
The two nurses had passed out in an embrace, both
okay.
from their actions and the alcohol.
Yeah.
Bonbon had awoken first.
That definitely...
Before hopping out of the bed and proceeding to take a shower, had lightly kissed Lyra on the left cheek.
Ship!
The sound of the shower starting up was what had caused Lyra to start, and almost immediately, her head had begun to pound. As much as she didn't want to leave the comfort of the bed, she knew she had to. So she lifted the sheets from her body and scurried to the bathroom. Her steps were like the booming steps of a giant Colgate, causing her head to ache.
Sorry, that's bad.
However, the steam that escaped the bathroom while opening the door helped to ease the thumping against her skull.
Are we gonna get some...
The shower continued to run as Lyra gazed at her...
Is it a shower scene now with the blood and the knife?
Sweaty, which caused her to startle a little, but she quickly stirred back to reality and just smiled at her reflection.
What a night.
I bet. Yeah, I bet.
Her messy mane in an attempt to style it just a tiny bit. She planned to shower as well, but Lyra preferred not to deal with snags while shampooing her mane, so she always brushed her mane prior to washing. Luckily for her, the brush's bristles glided through her mane without snagging. However, in the process, something unusual caught Lyra's attention.
What?
In her head, she swore she had heard a mild whisper amongst the sound of the shower and the thumping against her skull. Lyra thought about asking Bonbon if she had said something, or if she may have been whispering a joke.
I'm sensing a dark spirit now.
But then remembered she had drank too much wine.
Probably just a side effect from the hangover.
Yeah, that could happen as well.
Lyra thought to herself.
But it could be hallucinations, or it could be something very dark and sinister.
And quickly hopped into the shower with her beloved Bonbon. Not an uncommon action, seeing the two had been showering together even before marriage.
Ooh.
The hot water eased Lyra's pounding headache as it ran over her body, along with a light kiss from Bonbon. Lyra smiled as Bonbon made conversation with her.
What?
Rough morning? You have no idea.
She's got a hangover. Good fashion old full English breakfast without the meats.
There are remedies that will help with your headache.
What's that?
I wouldn't doubt that.
Bonbon responded with her own giggle, leaning in for another kiss.
That's my own giggle.
and enjoyed in the mix of the heat of the shower and being in the presence of her beloved Bonbon.
Aww.
The kiss was released quickly as Bonbon nuzzled her head against Lyra's.
She's gonna say something wrong, is she?
When you're finished, come back into the bedroom. Best cure for a hangover is rest. Alright.
You won't rest?
Bonbon accepted it and released, turning from Lyra and stepping out of the shower, leaving Lyra to her own thoughts.
Yeah.
Lyra proceeded to grabbing the bottle of shampoo, not wanting to waste any more time.
Is she gonna discover blood in her hair or something, or in her mane?
Pound, as she squirted a small bit-sized glob of shampoo into her hoof, rubbed her hooves together, and maneuvered it throughout her mane. The shampoo quickly turned to suds, as she did her best to wash out the sweat and whatever else may have been in her mane. While washing, Lyra once again caught something unusual. Just like before while brushing her mane.
That's very spooky way it's in the ear though. More on the right ear. Right. Find the right ear. In the right ear, I can actually hear the sound.
Once she finished up in the shower, Lyra returned to the bedroom as Bonbon had instructed.
That song reminds me
Bonbon
of
was sitting at Lyra's bedside with the bed sheets folded over nicely.
That game, that game in his play.
Steady steps.
Lyra followed her beloved's instructions, taking easy steps towards her side of the bed. Her headache had fallen to a much more milder level of pain from the steam of the shower. Therefore,
the water was hot then. Okay.
Slowly and steadily, she made her way to Bonbon and positioned her body into a comfortable position on the bed. Bonbon assisted, placing the sheets
I can't remember that one. Mostly it reminds me of. I can't remember the name.
Bonbon followed up, placing a glass of cold water on the surface of Lyra's nightstand.
Get some rest, and in between rest breaks, I want you to drink some water slowly. If you need anything, just yell for me.
Yell!
Alright, Mom.
Lyra joked, causing Bonbon
Alright,
to
Mom.
her eyes.
And no more jokes. Rest and water. Got it?
Plenty of rest and water.
Lyra replied sweetly, as Bonbon turned away and walked out of the room, closing the door behind her. At the sound of the door closing, Lyra followed Bonbon's instructions, taking a small sip of water. She swallowed the cold liquid down her throat, then closed her eyes into a slumber.
What's gonna happen? Tell me what's gonna happen.
Lyra opened her eyes, only to find herself in the bed, her limbs aching and her head feeling like small bombs were going off inside of her skull.
Boom!
Bonbon was there with her, sneezing like a fool, and a smile spread across her face.
Why is she smiling?
Bonbon's mane was a sweaty mess, looking as if her mane had been ruffled by some pony. Lyra just smiled.
Wait, you just had a shower?
And shallow breaths. Lyra attempted to lean inward for a kiss, but found her body unable to budge from its current position. Lyra attempted to move, but it was as if her body was full of lead.
Well, she's not well.
Move a muscle, causing her to immediately panic in desperation.
Oh, well, what's going on now?
Something she swore she recognized. A shallow whisper muttering something she couldn't make out. That was when her body began to move, but not by her own force. Her body had moved on top of Bonbon's body in a dominant mount. It felt like she was watching a movie, only instead of the movie being on a screen, it was from her line of sight. She thought she was just going to awake Bonbon. Is
she hallucinating now?
But things took an immediate dark turn when she saw her hooves reach out towards one of her spare pillows.
Just like dark turn, light turn. Didn't plan that.
Escape her eye as she screamed for Bonbon to wake up.
Wake up, Bonbon! Wake up!
Unheard. The climax came as Lyra watched in terror and shock. Her hoofs gripping the pillow, flailed down violently over Bonbon's head.
Something's going up now. Something's going on now.
Only continued to sleep until her inability to breathe finally came to attention, and Bonbon began to struggle and flail her hoofs in desperation. Bonbon's screams of desperation only came out as mutters of fear, sadness, and pure desperation. As a result, the pillow was just pressed down even harder on Bonbon's head. Lyre just screamed screams of silence and terror, watching the horror of
Something's really wrong with her now.
She just cried desperately, unable to escape from the scene.
What scene?
After much longer than it would normally take for a pony to suffocate, Bonbon finally
is she dying?
To come to the suffocation.
I don't know. Is she dying?
Lyre just wanted to close her eyes and escape this Tartarus she had entered, watching as her beloved fell limp.
Is she trapped in a mind of something?
The pillow was lifted, revealing a pale Bonbon. However, with a sudden inhalation,
Yeah, what was that?
It was made clear that Bonbon had been spared, but only had a small shred of life left in her.
Whoa!
The event of the
What was that scream?
Once again, with Lyre remaining on top of Bonbon, raising her hooves into the air. Lyre, already broken, had no choice but to watch as her other body came down with her hooves, straight.
Oh, fuck you! Really, Sparrow?
Fluttering into her sight became visible, along with Bonbon having a horribly broken muzzle. Blood seeped from her nostrils as yet another hammer fist landed into Bonbon's face, causing more blood to obscure her vision.
Really? Bloody sound effects now.
To vomit, watching the horror continue. Another hammer fist hit, then another, and another. Blood splatter covered the walls. The bed was soaked with crimson, and Lyra's vision had become nothing but a crimson-red filter. The worst part of it all, though, was that Bonbon was still alive by a tiny shred.
Really? How?
Lyra prayed that this horror show
didn't mean to shout there. Wow, how?
When the events continued to worsen. The unknown Lyra had begun to drag Bonbon's near-lifeless body out of the bed, down the stairs, and into the kitchen. Lyra immediately shuddered, knowing where this was going, noticing the sink full of water. Her fears came true as she watched her other body dunk the head of Bonbon into the water. She cried for mercy, wanting this horror show to end, but it didn't end.
Whoa. Is she drowning now? Is she drowning?
Every time Bonbon would be close to drowning, this monstrous version of Lyra would immediately pull her head from the now crimson water. This action repeated multiple times.
Is someone trying to murder her?
Water to drown for good.
Or is it a spirit trying to murder her?
Lyra sobbed massively, watching as the demented version of herself made its way back up the stairs.
What? Really? What?
It stood before the mirror.
Is it like the dark version of Lyra?
Dread and unconditional terror.
Like another version of Pinkie Pie who got Pinkamania, Dan Pie, Pinkamania and Pinkie Pie. Happy and sad.
She had killed her beloved in a very brutal and malevolent manner. In the mix of terror,
she killed?
And loss, she overheard the same mild whisper once again.
What whisper?
What followed was completely unexpected. The other Lyra smashed their head into the causing shards of glass to fly everywhere. The impact had caused the mirror to fall to the bathroom floor, but the strange thing about the ordeal was that Lyra had actually felt the impact, yet she wasn't bleeding like the other pony. The final set of the horrid sequence of events ended with the other.
Is it a polka dice, or is it a spirit controlling Lyra, or is it something like Annie,
Lyra felt the pain.
Sounds like parcel mouth.
But nothing happened to her, while her other self convulsed on the floor and gagged, a massive pool of blood being formed around her. It all ended with the perspective fading to pitch black, and before screaming in desperation of escaping this Tartarus, heard the same mild whisper reverberate throughout wherever.
What's the whispering? What is the whispering saying? What is the whispering saying?
She screamed in desperation.
Leave me alone! Make it stop!
Bonbon yelled in consideration, having been alerted by a blood-curdling scream from downstairs. Lyra finally stirred awake, breathing rapidly in fear.
This is the plant's doing it, isn't it? Is it a spirit in the plant?
Be considered nearly fatal. Lyra struggled to come back to reality.
Does the spirit control the plant? Like, as the spirit, as the plant is in the ground, so the hell is in the ground goes into the plant. Ish.
sorry, Lyra. What in Celestia happened?
Lyra
How do you
attempted to
explain
what had
this
caused her
to...
fall to a state of despair
no.
and pure terror. But just as she was about to speak, all of the events that had occurred had escaped her.
Yeah, what's
She
that?
tried to remember, but it was all just a giant blank, and Lyra couldn't explain why she couldn't remember.
Oh, the spirit is controlling her memory as well, yeah?
Baffled and unable to process anything, Lyra just responded with the only answer she could give in that moment.
What's that?
I don't remember.
Lyra replied.
Why don't you
continuing to
remember?
hold Bonbon close, not wanting to ever let her go.
Let her
Bonbon
go!
followed,
Let her
unsure of what to think
go!
about the situation.
Sorry.
I'm here as long as you need me to be.
Yeah.
Bonbon said calmly, continuing to hold Lyra. The embrace went on for an hour, before Lyra even dared to try going back to sleep. When she did, Bonbon stayed.
She's gonna have nightmares.
To leave her beloved's side.
She's gonna have a nightmare, isn't she? Or nightmare that's gonna feel real or something.
2 days passed, and Lyra's condition had only seemed to worsen. The nightmares had grown more haunting.
I know that music sounds like Famous 5 music, somehow.
The torture methods had become more violent and grotesque, causing Lyra
That's
to go awake
the
with an
game.
urge to vomit each
Kingdom
time.
Hearts!
As an attempt to help the sleep
That music at the beginning was like Kingdom Hearts.
Bonbon had given Lyra some medication that helped Pony sleep, but it had not been effective in the slightest. Lyra's nightmares continued, and each time Bonbon...
Oh, she's still having nightmares then.
...of the nightmare, Lyra's thoughts would immediately go blank. It made no sense, as most traumatizing nightmares were normally burnt into the victim's memories. Bonbon knew that all too well. She had had her own fair share of terrifying nightmares. However,
Did these nightmares actually happen for real?
Was a cold sweat, heavy breathing, and an increase in her heart rate.
What about my heart rate when that thing broke?
Or murdered or tortured, nor with the urge to vomit or sweating so badly that it had left a spot in the sheets. She had become concerned for her beloved Lyra, afraid that one of these times she would not wake up. Medication had not helped, nor a warm and relaxing
She
bath
is
or
sick.
massage afterwards.
Bonbon
had run
she
out of
infected
options
by a
and had
spirit or
scheduled Lyra
something.
for a doctor's appointment, hoping that a reason for these sudden nightmares could be found. In the 2 days of no sleep, Lyra had become paranoid as well, afraid to even be near or around Bonbon.
Was she That's a bit cool though, isn't it? Right,
Seeing anything
so
she attempted to kiss, hug, or even get close to Lyra,
she felt
Lyra
pain.
would immediately turn away. It hurt Lyra the most, but
Something is
told her that
affecting
she
her
needed to
though.
remain
Something is
safe.
affecting her.
Otherwise, her nightmares could become a reality. Another sign that told her to stay away was the fact that what started out as a side effect from her hangover had become a constant presence in her mind. She feared she might have been going crazy, but in her mind, she wanted to believe it was just some sort of sickness she had caught. But that
No, I
still
feel you
didn't
call
explain why what
a
had started
spirit.
as a whisper had become more audible, and that it increased any time she got near Bonbon. Why was this happening? Lyra wondered. And more importantly, was it too late? She prayed to Celestia that the doctor could find the cause of this whole ordeal. She just wanted things to go back to normal.
I think no
For her to
pony
be
can
able to
find
live a
any
happy life with her
answers.
beloved Bonbon.
No.
For the terrifying and haunting nightmares to end. For that damn reoccurring
How do you stop nightmares though?
That was all she could do. Pray and hope. As she made her way through the double glass doors of the Ponyville Hospital. The waiting room was packed with ponies of all ages, which was not uncommon at all. Luckily for Lyra, she didn't have to wait long.
No?
Mainly 10 minutes after doing all the paperwork.
That's quick! That's quicker than that's NHS!
In the hospital, doing their daily exercise to avoid getting blood clots in their forelegs.
Oh.
Lyra was called back quickly, being led by a nurse she was familiar with.
Nurse Redheart.
One of the hospital's kindest, yet strict nurses on staff.
And the sexist!
She was led to a smaller room after being weighed and given the usual vitals examination. With a few words and a reassuring smile,
Sexy, not sexist. Sexy nurses.
fidgeting with her hoofs while examining the interior of the room and a chart describing and labeling the anatomy of a pony's body. Between her fidgeting and examining,
I'm expecting like a
She
a
couldn't make out
clean
what was being
white
said,
room or
only
something?
that it was more mild than usual. Lyra didn't make any movements,
No.
nor did she state anything toward the voice, thinking it was just her mind playing tricks on her. She only continued to fidget and examine the chart,
The
waiting
spirit
for the
is
doctor
following
to arrive.
Lyra?
It was about another 5
Ish?
minutes before the sliding door to the room slid open, entering a brown-coated stallion with a chocolate-brown mane and blue eyes.
No, another ship, is
On
it?
his name tag was the name Dr. Bronston, which Lyra quickly recognized as the former Canterlot Morgue medical examiner. He had decided to return to simple
Hello
medical practice
again!
after an occurrence in the morgue he found bizarre. Lyra remembered
To
reading
keep the
story
bodies
in
from
newspaper,
rotting.
and even found it bizarre herself.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Heartstrings.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
So, what seems to be the problem?
He asked with concern,
Hello, Sparrow.
having a spare notebook and pencil.
That's Sparrow, isn't it?
I'm not sure. In the last 2 days, I've been restless due to nightmares that I've been having. I wake up screaming, sweating to death, and my heart rate is at a rate that...
Do you need an
most
exam or something?
to near fatal.
I see.
I see.
Don't take this personally. It's just part of my job. But
What?
prior to having these nightmares, did you partake in any drug activity?
What?
What?
No. All I had was 2 glasses of wine.
Alright, Mrs. Heartstrings. I'm only asking because it says I have to. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry, Doc.
Lyra apologized,
Ship.
confused on why she had reacted so angrily.
Apology accepted.
Yeah.
Now, you said you had wine prior. You are aware alcoholic beverages can cause nightmares, right?
Yes.
I am. However, that was 2 days ago, and the beverage has since then made its way out of my system.
Oh, she's mad.
Mrs. Heartstrings, I'm going to have to ask you to calm down, or I will have you escorted out of the building.
Lyra paused, taking a second to calm down. She had once again snapped unintentionally and didn't know why. It could have been due to lack of sleep, but normally
Oh,
she
the
was
spirit
conscious of her
controlling her.
actions.
Like
She
a,
just gave her best
a Furious.
Sorry, Doc. I haven't been able to sleep for 2 days, so I snap easily.
Understood.
Understood.
Just understand, I'm just doing what I'm told to do.
Yes.
Right. Carry on. I'll do my best to answer.
Yes.
Bronston finalized, continuing to follow asking the questions on the sheet he gripped. Lyra explained how the details of the nightmares escaped her mind whenever she tried to explain what had occurred, along with the voice in her head that proposed gibberish she couldn't understand.
What
Both of those
gibberish?
claims made Bronston raise an eyebrow in consideration,
Oh, yeah?
unsure of whether Lyra was telling the truth, or if deprivation of sleep was causing her to say things that were complete nonsense. That wasn't his job, though.
No.
His job was to find a solution.
Alright, Mrs. Heartstrings.
Not a cure, then.
I'm going to order you a stress test. After that,
A stress
I'm having
test?
some blood work ordered, an MRI, and a mental and physical test done as well.
Is the blood hers,
Lyra
though?
wasn't too satisfied with all the unnecessary tests being proposed by Bronston, but at this point, she felt like she had no choice but to follow the doctor's orders. She nodded her head.
I sense there will be some
Bronston finished
some
writing down things
dark
on his notebook.
stuff in the blood,
Once he finished,
like this
settling
picture
the pimple between
shows.
his right ear and skull, he turned to Lyra with a smile.
Don't worry, Mrs. Heartstrings.
No.
We will get you better.
I hope you are right.
I hope so too. Hopefully. Ish. I know it's not going to be like that, is it? Oh, that must be the unmarked
Many hours
case.
passed of endless
The unmarked
testing,
with
and
apple
after what
bloom.
seemed like forever, Lyra sat and waited for the results. She hadn't been cured, seeing the voice still remained, speaking.
That's the same
sound
sound effect, isn't it?
As the clock ticked, she attempted to make sense of what the voice was saying, but it was too muffled and distorted to even hear clearly or fluently. All it was causing her was a headache, so she rubbed her temples to try and soothe the aching. Once again, it wasn't effective at all, and seemed to only antagonize the voice even
The
more.
spirit is everywhere now. It's everywhere around Lyra.
Feeling her nerves settle,
Surely.
her headache subsided as Bronston took a seat, setting a large stack of papers and documents onto the tabletop. Lyra sat in suspense, hoping that somewhere in that large stack of papers was the answer to what in Celestia was going on with her body's state.
Anything, Doc?
Anything?
I'm afraid not, Mrs. Heartstrings. I've checked your results, and everything seems normal. Your
Normal.
temperature is a safe 98.3 degrees. All of your vitals are healthy. and your mental state is as normal as it normally seems to be. I'm sorry I couldn't help you find anything, Mrs. Heartstrings. I've literally done all I can to
Why
help.
can't you try a orthodox
I believe your answer
approach?
doesn't lie in the medical field, which is why I'm going to recommend you seeing a psychiatrist for your current predicament. Unexpected terrifying
Dr.
nightmares are
Colstein,
more
he
often
was
a
perfect!
psychological issue than a medical issue. I truly am sorry, but that's all I can do.
Lyra sat speechless. She had
Get
come here
Dr.
hoping to
Colstein.
whatever may be wrong with her,
Lyra,
but here she was back in square
tell
one,
me about
with no
the
clue on what to
instance.
do except follow
Instances.
Bronson's advice. In some matter, she felt betrayed and angry, like there was more Bronston could do. He was just too busy waiting for his paycheck to want to help her solve the mystery behind her situation.
I don't know, is it Doctor
With those
don't want to
thoughts,
help then?
Something happened that Lyra did not expect.
What's that? What's that?
That same
What
chilling
happened?
voice reverberated in her skull,
What?
but this time it was different. The gibberish she had heard before was now clear as day.
What's it saying?
The reverberating voice muffled out anything Bronston may have said, as Lyra listened, hearing what seemed like a mixture of whispering and some sort of conflict. She didn't know what to do, feeling some invisible force tell her to ignore the whispering and get out of there. She felt a sudden strong urge overcome her body. The
Get
more she
out of there,
listened to the voices in her head.
And something's gonna happen in the hospital
The
if
urge
you
felt like
don't.
pure hatred, as Lyra felt her sanity start to fall to a comatose state, and her personality had begun to change to a more malevolent mindset. She eyed the doctor with daggers of rage and persistence, noticing Bronston's pencil settled on the desktop. The volume of the voices increased, and even in a comatose state, Lyra could make out the dialogue of the voices now. The dialogue made her shudder, and immediately sent her into a panic.
What was it saying?
The voices were telling her to kill Bronston.
What?
That he had promised her that he would help her. He would make her better. He would cure her. He had lied, and instead did nothing but earn a paycheck.
It's a spirit!
That's all doctors are good for. That's all they do. Take money and leave ponies to suffer in pain. He should be punished for his lies, for his betrayal. It seemed like she was listening to a record being played in reverse like
did
It made her
Doctor
feel
do?
uneasy, yet it also made her feel powerful in some way. She
What
wanted to
did the
punish
doc-
him because the voices were telling her the truth. She wanted to take that pencil and shove it through his neck, forbidding him from ever speaking a lie ever again in his pathetic life. It took her a minute to realize that while in her comatose state, she had been reaching outward for the pencil. And while she was still
A
safe,
pencil?
took her opportunity to leave. She darted out of the room like a rocket, and despite Bronston objecting and trying to call Lyra back, she never turned back. As she trotted like a mad horse, she thought to herself on how she could ever even have such sinister thoughts. The voices in her head yelled for her to turn back and give Bronston his punishment, but Lyra refused, and ran non-stop until she was out of the hospital and beyond.
Oh dear. She's got okay, she's run out of the hospital. Discharge herself then. Okay, what's next? Oh, the classical piece again.
After succumbing to exhaustion,
That's
Lyra
Beethoven.
took a seat on the ground. She
Moonlight,
ended up just outside
Moonlight
of
Sonata.
and now sat with fear, confusion, and dread on what had just occurred in the hospital. If she had not come back to reality any second sooner, Bronston would have been bleeding to death from a pencil being impaled into his neck. Lyra shivered, not sure what to do or think. All
Gonna
she
get a
could
drink.
think
Stand by.
was, what if that had been Bonbon, and instead of a pencil, the weapon had been one of the knives she used to cut the vegetables? A tear escaped her eye at that thought, unsure of what to do now. She took deep breaths, small bits of sweat dripping from her muzzle, as she attempted to even find a solution to what had just happened. She had just nearly killed some pony, and had no control over her actions as it happened. Fear was all she could feel.
Some pony
She had never had the
is
urge to harm
controlling
another
you.
pony, nor the urge to kill. So what in Equestria had caused this?
Is it the Pirius
And more
curse?
importantly, could she stop it? Lyra
Oh, that's
thought
hard.
that Dr.
Even
Bronson had
if
suggested
find off the Pirius curse is hard.
She didn't dare take another chance of possibly killing some pony. That was when it hit her like a ton of bricks.
It's something in the risers, I
Dare
think.
return home? She would be endangering her beloved Bonbon. But where else could she go?
Where can I go? What can I do?
MLP Voice?
Crazy? How can I stop this?
Ooh!
Easy, Lyra. You can't be afraid of this. You're stronger than some voice in your head speaking pure gibberish. You need to quit worrying so much about this voice. It's only something caused by separate.
But don't you need to see up some pony or someone
Called it anyway.
about this voice in the first place?
Just need to concentrate. I control you, not a damn voice. It's all in your head, Lyra. Nothing more.
How do you
Every
know?
bit of confidence the mare could muster, she stood back and made her way back to her home, attempting to hold a smile as she walked. That smile never came. Only a sense of fear.
And loss. And the door opens.
The sound of vegetables being chopped up was all Lyra heard, as she closed the door to the house and steadily made her way into the home. Bonbon became aware of Lyra's presence, as she turned from her half-chopped up vegetables to her beloved in a very unstable condition. She kept her distance, attempting to mutter out anything.
It's not over though.
So, what did the doctor say?
Nothing I didn't already know.
Out of the stillness of
That-
the silence of the house and Bonbon's
Figure
unsure
something
expression,
is wrong with her
the
though.
whispers came once again. But this time, the message was said in a violent and demonic tone that made Lyra's hooves nearly collapse.
Oh god, what is it now? What the?
Oh, come on!
How dare you revenge? She's a slut. A loyal chief locked up back with the cashier. She lies. She doesn't love you. She uses her voice.
It's just a voice, Lyra. Fight it.
Doesn't deserve life because she wants others.
It's just a voice. Fight it. Fight it.
You
Yeah.
never hurt me. You're lying.
Lyra yelled in anger, not aware that she was yelling at blank
It's like a
space
female
in
Annie.
Bonbon's eyes.
You're a useless being in her eyes. She would tell you likes it. But in her eyes, you are nothing but a waste.
No, you're lying. You're lying.
She didn't want to believe the voice, but in ways, she did want to believe it.
Why?
Why had Bonbon chosen to stay with her, let alone marry her? She was a mare who couldn't even brush her mane without messing up or causing an even bigger mess. Had Bonbon
Don't
really
believe the
only used her for
voice,
pleasure and
Lyra.
nothing more? Was
Please.
she really cheating on her with Sunflower's string? Sunflower was very supportive, had asked Bonbon to save her a glass, and even winked at her when they left that day. Could it be true?
I don't
The voice
know.
continued to antagonize
Hope because
her
it's
as
not
these
true,
thoughts
though.
ran through her head.
She's a user. You should see her when she's with that bitch Sunflower Spring. She's all over her, touching her and kissing her every...
Lyra!
The voice was interrupted by Bonbon, standing with a look of worry and confusion.
What's wrong?
Lyra came to her senses, not aware of what she had just said. Lyra made eye contact, confused, yet slightly angry. That same feeling of
The
hatred had
spirit is
returned,
controlling you,
as Lyra
Lyra.
finally spoke,
Surely.
a look of anger expressed on her face.
Do you?
What?
Do you use me? Am I just your free card for pleasure?
No.
Lyra, what are you talking about?
What are you talking
I
about?
never used you for pleasure. I've been married, I chose to love for the rest of my life. When we have our moments behind closed doors, it's for the reasons I married you and nothing else. Why are you thinking I use you?
It's a
Bonbon
voice in her head.
Getting into a defensive
Like
state,
you're gonna say that out
just in case
loud.
She had to do any drastic actions. Lyra felt sincerity in those words, but the voice was telling her otherwise.
Yeah.
Lyra attempted to shake her head free of the voice, but it only made it worse.
Yeah.
Allow me to show you that she's a dirty mare that uses you.
But your
Lyra's
voice in your
the
head.
voice antagonized
Stop
her
it.
thoughts, but it was quickly interrupted by a set of imagery, as Lyra felt her body enter that comatose state once again. All she could see was an image
Don't
of
believe the images though. Anything like that could be fake.
First, she didn't even think twice that this was real. But as the imagery went longer, Lyra became conflicted. Seeing the imagery seemed real. Then it only grew more real.
It's like
reality,
it's a living nightmare, isn't it?
Speaking to her. But next to her was Sunflower Spring, with a look of seductiveness all over her face. Lyra blinked twice to make sure she wasn't just seeing things. But Sunflower was there both times, French kissing and caressing her tongue along Bonbon's neck.
Why have she been with you all the time though?
Filled Lyra's eyes as she watched Sunflower Spring continue her dirty deeds, saying something in the process.
What's that?
You aside, you dumb bitch. She's mine. She's always been mine.
It's the spirit, man!
That made Lyra's anger rise as she leaked tears and yelled out in fury.
Get off of her, you dirty slut!
Lyra commanded, lunging forward only to hit nothing but air. At least, that's what Bonbon saw.
Is Lyra hallucinating as well?
An invisible force that she couldn't see. She wasn't sure what to do, afraid that if she approached Lyra, she might put herself in danger.
She's already in danger!
She had to, and kept her defensive posture as she neared Lyra, growling in frustration at the kitchen wall.
Lyra!
Stop.
Lyra ignored
Come back
her,
to your senses!
to yell at the wall. She had no choice but to
Or
get
get
Lyra's
a
attention
priest or an exorcism or
whatever
a
he
pony
was.
to help you!
Bonbon
Orthodox
reached out
approach or
to
something.
Lyra's shoulder. The second the contact was made, Lyra
Sort of
stopped
thing, you're
yelling.
gonna get fucking cured,
Instead,
and then the fucking
turned
cure is too
slowly where she
late.
was eye to eye with Bonbon.
Like the thing
Bonbon
with
felt uncomfortable,
Trixie.
looking at the yellow bloodshot
Is it the
set of
cough, I
eyes
think?
staring at her,
Is it the cough?
full of tears
I can't
and
remember.
pure
Yeah,
anger.
that was good acting though.
And you broke the promise you made to me.
Lyra yelled, lunging violently out at Bonbon. Bonbon managed to dodge Lyra just in time, watching as Lyra went forward
yeah.
into the wall on the other side of the kitchen. Lyra wasn't giving up that easily, turning toward Bonbon once again, sliding a large knife out of its slot in the knife set.
Oh god, no.
Lyra!
Put the knife down.
What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb, you unfaithful slut. You never loved me.
This is not Lyra.
Sunflower.
This is a
You
spirit.
stood there while she kicked
Surely.
me out. What kind of man were you to just stand there while my heart was ripped in half?
Lyra, Sunflower isn't here. I've never slept with her. We're just friends. Nothing more. I love you and only you. Please put the knife down.
Put the knife down.
Help you.
You want to help me? Then join your little whore friend in tournaments.
Lyra ran forward with the aim to pin Bonbon against the wall, and was not stopping.
Oh, come on!
Bonbon abandoned
Thank you
all
very
attempts
much,
to
Speedy
talk
Bell,
to
Sweetie
Lyra,
Bell.
and resorted to defending herself. Bonbon caught the knife, feeling it cut into her flesh a tiny bit, but nothing hurt worse than the pain she felt in her heart. Lyra pushed forward hard, but Bonbon had the upper hoof, kicking the blade out of Lyra's grasp onto the floor. Lyra attempted one more lunge, but was stopped by a kick to her liver, immediately causing her to lose her breath. Before she could recover, Bonbon finished the assault with a spinning kick to Lyra's left temporal lobe, knocking her out instantly.
Oh. Self-defense. I'll agree with that. That's self-defense.
Unconscious. She wanted to vomit, but instead
What?
proceeded to getting Lyra to a controlled environment.
Get her the help that she needs.
I'm sorry. But you left me no choice. Please forgive me for this.
End of the chapter. A song about what? Written by Sparrow 9642. Edited by Sparrow 9642. Lotus Moon. Bonbon. Lyre Heartstrings, Flare Rules. Soundfast Beings, whereas Writer 1. Okay, that was Mother Clubber, a Lyra's song, My Little Pony Grimdark Reading Part 2. Well, this installment of Part 2 is a lot darker than the previous chapter. It's like a female Annie, as a spirit within Lyra. The spirit is like a female version of Annie, controlling her, doing voices in her head. The thing is, the spirit is not affecting the blood as such, but a way that a spirit can operate, that's how they say wrong, operate, is to change someone's view or aspect or something. The spirit can basically, or technically, sorry my brother, there he goes, put false images in someone's or some pony's head. Very similar what happened to Harry when Voldemort put false images into his head when Sirius Black was at the Ministry of Magic inside the Hall properties, and basically, technically, sorry, my bad, there he goes again, a prisoner inside the Department of Mysteries. But in true fact, he was home at number 4 Grimmauld Place. I think it's number 4 Grimmauld Place. But what worries me as well, could the spirit be telling the truth as well? I really hope not. I really hope this is not technically... Oh, sorry. Gosh. Hopefully this is not true. And the spirit just playing with Lyra. Messing up with her mind. And putting, like, because Lyra's technically... Oh my gosh, is hallucinating that pony that was supposedly having an affair with Bonbon. Just put some Bonbon sweets into her and then she'd be cured.
Seriously?
Sorry, Apple Bloom, I really am sorry. That was bad. As I was saying in the reaction, take Lyra to another pony that is not connected to the medical world. In a sense, don't take her to a doctor, because a doctor is not trained in spirit. Not take her to Dr. Colstein. He's best suited for this sort of thing, isn't he?
Oh, come on!
Thank you very much, Sweetie Belle. Take her to a psychiatrist. Take her to Sakura. Think of this, because she will be able to sense the spirit, and apparently the plant or the flower has something to do with this. Don't say the plant is controlling her. I'll cover that with stupid, wouldn't it? Am I going off the mark? I am, Mark. Sorry, I really am sorry about that as well. Oh boy, that was... And when you put the bone cracking thing, I'll scare the living daylights out of me. Technically, it's night time.
Seriously?
Sorry, I really am sorry. Sorry, I really am sorry. I really am sorry. And what Bonbon did is, in self-defense, not too unconscious. Self-defense, because she has a bloody knife in her hand. What do you expect she's going to do? To stand there and eat sweets?
Seriously?
Sorry, Apple Bloom. Really am sorry again-ish. Once again, this was a good reading. A good reading. I'm shouting at the. I'm shouting about it. Oh dear. A lot darker from the previous chapter. Like I said in the previous reaction as well, I can tell the mic quality's got better. The sound effects got better, especially when it drifts to one ear. That it's making me turn my head like someone's behind me, not realizing it's in the video. It's just a sound effect. And when it's in the left ear, you're tending to turn your head around. Whoa, what's going to happen in part 3? The final chapter. I don't know. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It's like, is the spirit going to murder Lyre? Or even murder Bonbon? Because someone or some pony is going to get hurt. And the time that we find out, or someone finds out what is causing this, is going to be too late. Well, hopefully you like this reaction, and all my reaction videos I do. And I will see you next time. Oh, yes.